He has been a professional artist for more than 50 years, renowned not only as an Indigenous painter and printmaker, but also as a carver and storyteller. This year he's celebrating a milestone birthday, his 80th, with a look back at some of his finest illustrations. Here to talk about the best of Roy Henry Vickers' 80 selected works is Roy Henry Vickers. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Coming to you from the banks of the Skeena River near Hazelton in northern British Columbia. And yep, looking back on 80 years, it's hard to believe I'm 80 years old.
Now, Roy, we've spoken once or twice in the past, including 10 years ago when you were celebrating your 70th birthday. Back then, you marked that milestone with your book, Peace Dancer. This time, you've done something a little different. How did you come up with the idea of doing a best of collection?
I didn't. It was Lucky Bud, or also known as Robert Bud. He's the one that has been inspiring me to put out more books. And 80 years and 50 some odd years as an artist, he felt it was important to maybe select works from those 50 years of work to celebrate my 80th birthday. So that's how the idea came to be. And when he asked me what pieces I would want in there, it was very difficult for me because I love all of my works. They're all inspired by a story or a place that I've been to. So I told him, well, you will have to get some help to pick the pieces because it's not something I could do.
Now, this book covers a half century of your work from 1974 to 2024. And as you just said, it sounds like it was pretty tough to narrow it down to just 80 of those pieces.
Yes, it was. We decided maybe split them into decades and find the pieces from my early years. And when I look at the book, I can see I'm almost looking like an outsider. And I can see the progression from very traditional work to a contemporary expression of who Roy Henry Vickers is as a Canadian who is Simshan, Haida, Hilchuk, Wikinuk, English, Irish, French, German, a real Canuck. Actually, when I was born, they put me in this little cardboard box because I was born in a village and there was no bassinet. And my dad pointed to the box and he was laughing and he showed my mother it had Heinz 57 on the box.
Now, in the book, you say you love to draw from a young age, so much so it would get you in trouble in school. Much like Bart Simpson, you were forced to write lines on the chalkboard as punishment. In your case, you wrote, I will not draw in math class 100 times. What was it like going through school like that?
Um, it was strange. I always loved to draw. And actually, my grade 2 teacher, her name was Miss Buckle. But when she grew up, she went back to school from the village and she became a doctor. And she came into my gallery in Tofino decades and decades later and introduced herself as Dr. Marlene Hunter. And she said, you won't know me as that, but you'll know me as Miss Buckle. And I said, oh, Miss Buckle, I remember you taking my drawings away. And she said, yes. And I put them in a little cardboard box. I said, well, Miss Buckle, Dr. Hunter, if you could find those drawings, I would trade you for anything there is in this gallery. And she didn't find them.
That's too bad. Later, you were rejected from the RCMP because of your color blindness, but then managed to get a job with the Saanich Fire Department. But then what made you decide to become an artist full time?
Well, I didn't. I was pushed into it actually by the guys in the fire department. They all kept telling me I was crazy for being a fireman. I should be an artist. And I said, hey, I work here. I work 4 days on and 4 days off. I can be an artist and a fireman. And their argument was a good one. They said, well, if you keep working here and collecting a paycheck, you won't work as hard as you would if you didn't have a job and you had to rely on your art. And so I made up my mind to leave the fire department and go to the Gittin-Mac School of Northwest Coast Indian Art. And actually, I'm living near Hazelton, where that school was back in the day. And I came out of there in 1974, 52 years ago, and sold my first 2 editions of prints. And I realized I was on my way, and I've been going ever since.
Now, you were the first Indigenous artist UBC showcased at its Museum of Anthropology with your Beginnings show in 1977. I guess this is one of the first things to put you on the map. How did that come about?
I'm not sure. I actually I forgot about that show. That was an incredible time, 77. Um, yeah, I so many things happened all one after the other back in those days. In 87, it was the um, Commonwealth Summit, and Queen Elizabeth was visiting Vancouver, and she was given one of my paintings called A Meeting of Chiefs. And that was really what changed my whole world. Up until then, I was a hardworking, struggling artist looking for places to sell my work. And after that, it was like I've been riding this wave that just seems to get bigger.
And around that same time, you opened your gallery in Tofino. Now, you're from up north. You're from Hazelton, Skeena area. What drew you to Tofino?
Uh, that's a good one, too. That's a long story. I was in the early days, I started selling prints, as I said, in 1974. And everyone that was buying my work loved the stories behind the work. And so I would sit down over a coffee or lunch or dinner with different gallery owners and managers and tell them the stories. And once I became very, very popular, they just thanked me for coming and took the artwork and gave me my money and sent me on my way. And I lost the joy because it became all about money. And for me, it was about stories and inspiration. And so I quit and I bought my uncle's fishing boat. I went back to my village of Kitkatla and I commercial fished for 2 years. And I was doing something that I loved doing as a child growing up. And a very good friend of mine told me, don't give up all of your art. Pick up a camera and take pictures when you're out there because you're going to be doing things that not many people get to see. And so I took hundreds of slides and photographs out on the ocean. And what that did was it changed the way I looked at the world and at nature around me and prepared me to be this person who would create art for people to see. And at the end of 2 years, not making very much money at all, I wound up in Tofino. I tied my boat up at the dock. I met a friend there, and he said, Roy, if you could just stay the winter and teach me how to carve totems, that would be really nice. And I said to Henry, well, you find me a place to rent and I'll stay. And 15 years later, the gallery was built and I moved back to Victoria.
And the gallery is still there today, of course.
Oh, yes, there have been millions of people go through the gallery over the years that it's been open since 1986. So a long time and millions of people from all over the world.
One of the coolest things you've been asked to do is to design a cover for the Grateful Dead for their box set Pacific Northwest. How did that one come about?
Oh, my goodness. Um, Robert Budd, who's also, he writes memories to memoirs, and his good friend Dave works with Rhino Records. And they were looking for Pacific Northwest artists to illustrate a release from 2 huge shows that the Grateful Dead did in Vancouver and in Portland. And I was the one that was selected, and that was an incredible journey in itself.
Were you a Dead fan before that commission?
No, I wasn't. I was Bob Dylan, Johnny Cash, but Bob Dylan did a lot with the Grateful Dead, and I realized that, and I love their music. Jerry Garcia and his guitar. Yes, it was easy to become a fan.
Did you ever hear back from any of them about the artwork? Were they happy with it?
Yes, they were. I'll tell you this story too. It was incredible. We were working back and forth. I was working with two women from Rhino Records who were in charge of everything, and they had different ideas about what a boxed set would look like, and their ideas and mine didn't work. And finally, I said, I want to tell you something about Grateful Dead. I said, when you are standing in the strength and the truth and beauty of who you are, and you're speaking and telling your story and touching people, your ancestors on the other side are whispering to themselves very excitedly and saying, maybe this one will be the one to carry the strength and truth and beauty of our lineage. And they are the Grateful Dead. Almost a minute passed with silence on the phone. And I said, are you still there? And they said, we're crying. And we decided that you just do whatever you want to do, and we will support you. And so that's how it all came to be.
Now, Roy, one of your most recent honors is being nominated the first Elder in Residence by the BC Arts Council. In the book, you say that you look at this as a teaching role. My question then is, what lessons would you like to pass on in the time you have left?
Mm. We are all individuals. There's no one like us in the world. We are all creative. We are all teachers, healers, visionaries, and leaders. And if we speak and work from inspiration, we will be doing something no one else in this world can do. And so we center ourselves and be who we're meant to be, and feel the goosebumps and the hair go up on the back of your neck, and do what it is that you're inspired to do. And you'll be doing what you're meant to do.
And what continues to inspire you? You're 80 now. What other plans? What's left to do?
Uh, well, I don't know. I never know where inspiration comes from. It can come in a conversation like this. It can come from someone telling their story. It can come from a beautiful scene that you're looking at out in nature. And inspiration is a word that comes from the Latin inspiritus, which literally means the breath of the Creator respirating us, being breathed into us. And when that happens, we create something that is beyond who we are. It is beyond our teachers and all of our ancestors. And so I never know where it's going to come from. I just know it's going to come. And it seems the older I get, the more inspiration there is.
What do you hope people get out of the book?
A little more knowledge of how we grow as artists and create images when we stay true to the inspiration.
The name of the book is The Best of Roy Henry Vickers, 80 Selected Works. It is available from Harbor Publishing. My thanks to author Roy Henry Vickers.
Thank you, sir.